What? Hey, welcome to Money Matters, episode 28 with Matt and Rich. Hey, Matt,
Yes. Hey, Rich. What's going
how's
on?
it going? No, not much, not much. I think we've got a little bit of a delay, a little lag, but that's okay. We'll get through it. I think, yeah, we've got a good
Yeah.
state of the market here. We've got some interest rate chatter. I'd love to just take this episode to kind of go through. I'll share my screen. We'll go through a couple different price points. We'll start with kind of like first time buyer price point roughly range, then jump up to like maybe like the step up market range, and then go to sort of the higher end, obviously not million plus, but sort of the higher end range. And maybe hopefully you can give us shed some light on what maybe a payment will look like for a particular property, which we'll pick out, but we'll just kind of chat about that. You got any
Yeah.
news, anything pressing that you can talk about here?
Nothing crazy because there hasn't been a Fed meeting in like 2 or 3 weeks. So
Tomorrow.
this is usually the time where things start to stabilize a little bit, which is kind of nice. Buyers are getting used to where things are again. And for another, I think the Fed meeting's probably in a week or 2 weeks, looking at the calendar here. So we got at least another week of, people understanding where things are at, and then things shift and some lenders move quicker than others. So then there's some discrepancy in prices. But I mean, hopefully we keep getting good news. Things are coming down. Honestly, the most popular rate that I've been locking in at recently is 5.99 for a
Sweet.
30 year for first time homebuyer stuff. So yeah, it's been nice seeing, even if it's 5.99 and it's pretty much six, like it's been nice seeing a five. So it's been good on our end. It's actually been refreshing, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's good news for first time buyers, good news for buyers in general. We're kind
Yeah,
of
it is.
hopefully going to be below that six. I mean, still high fives, but hopefully that's kind of a common theme here throughout the year. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I thought the Fed meeting was tomorrow, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Oh no, it very well could be. I'm so distracted by my Mexico trip. It very well could be. Like
Ah,
for
yeah, you'll
it,
you'll be going to
it-
Mexico.
yeah.
Awesome.
But honestly, I would love to see, like, first time home buyers, there's no pricing adjustment. So their rates are a little bit better if they're under income limits, just to make it more feasible for first time buyers. I would love to see non-first time home buyers as well also being locked at 5.99. I think once that starts to happen, first time home buyers at like 5.5, it's like, okay, like now we're really starting to pick up some momentum on at least getting back to some sort of normalcy in a mortgage market. I think fives is like fours and fives is seen as normal. So when you're
Yep.
there, it's like, okay, everything's kind of normal-ish. I think people still see sixes, they get a little freaked out. But as we'll show today, like there's not a ton of inventory out there, at least, I mean, down in Salem, Londonderry. I think Manchester's similar, but obviously we'll go over all that. But like once rates go below five, like, or sorry, below six, like people are going to be ready to buy. So, prepare yourself for that. Like, yes, it's great. You could get a 5.5 potentially by the end of the year, if not sooner. But that also means everyone else can get a 5.5, and that's what everyone wants. So, like, just being prepared for that influx of demand that's going to happen.
Yeah, because once these first-time home buyers are able to jump up into the step-up home, which will show, sort of the difference in pricing. Once they can step up to the step-up homes,
Right.
well, first-time buyers will have a home. They'll have a home to go into. And then same with the step-up buyers. Once they jump up to maybe like, another pricing tier, that'll free up another home, because inventory is still the issue at the end of the day.
Right. Right, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, no, I love it. Let's dive into some houses, let's see where things are at.
Yeah, I'm going to pop over to share my screen here. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. Oh, my super secret stuff.
Let's get
There we go. How's it look? All right.
Yep, looks good on my end.
So I've got right here the Manchester, Salem, Nashville market. Just so the southern southern town, well, cities really that are going to give us probably the best insight as
Yeah.
to sort of the overall state of the southern market, southern New Hampshire, Manchester South. I can certainly include Londonderry, Derry, and all
Mhm.
those towns, but this will give us a good picture as to what's going on. I think a good amount of homes to kind of look at. So I have sort
Definitely.
of the first time buyer price point. Believe it or not, 250 to 400. Are you seeing anything different?
No, I think that's pretty spot on, to be honest with you. Yes, there's some higher, some lower, just like anything else. But in terms of like your typical first time buyer, like that's it. Like that really is it. 250 to 4.
So jump over to kind of what's on the market. Make sure my active listings. Yep. So what's on the market in this price point, and what we're looking at here, if you can see, all right, we've got 14 listings. I sorted them by days on market for this kind of check here, just to give you an idea
Mhm.
on where we stand. So the 14 properties, we've got a mix of obviously Manchester, Nashua, majority of that. As you'll know, nothing available in Salem sub 400 for single family homes. Zero homes. We've got,
That just doesn't
and that,
exist. Like
yeah,
it literally
it's not a thing.
just
Hmm. So we've got obviously Manchester, Nashua on here. We've got homes on the market. This sort of side here, all the way on the right next to the picture, that's our days on market. So 17, 19, 47. This is the higher end for days on market. And we've got lower end here in Manchester, Nashua, Manchester. Yep. So Manchester, Nashua. And let's see where our lowest price point home. So Walcott Street, Manchester is listed at 279.9, but it's been on the market 58 days. There's something going on there. Price, condition, or location.
yeah.
Those are the things that cause the sale. So something there. Manchester 299, 315. Yeah, kind of, let's take one of these properties and maybe if you can give us an idea. Oh, I like this one. Wow. That seems like a good deal. Brunel Ave, 3 bed, 3 bath, 2,600. That's actually a good deal. I think that's a good deal. 3 days on market. I imagine that's going to sell. Um,
Right.
yeah. So Brunel Ave, it's taxes 5,400 per year. Asking price of 354.9. What do you think?
Yes. Let me do this out here and see. So you said 354.9
Yeah,
was the asking.
that's what they're asking. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then let's assume, first time home buyer, they're probably putting between 3 and 5% down, most likely. So let's go on the high end.
Just
We'll go on the
go with
5%
five.
end just to
Yep.
be as conservative. So we got 354.9 just to get the loan amount. So you would have a loan amount of $337,155 to give people a
Mm-hmm.
reference on that. And then, like I mentioned before, the most popular interest rate that I've been locking at for first-time home buyers is 5.99. So I'll plug that in just to keep that kind of all consistent as well. Then
This
you
home's
said
updated
taxes were
too.
54, right?
Yeah, we'll go with 5,400.
Okay. And then I always estimate insurance at that price point at between 80 and $100 a month. So we'll go on the high end. We'll go $100 a month for homeowners insurance. And then your private mortgage insurance. This is kind of where the difference in the payment between an FHA and a conventional loan would be. And then obviously, well, I should say obviously, and then if you're in a conventional loan, the higher your credit score, the lower your mortgage insurance is going to be because you're seen as a less risky buyer. So I'm going to try and meet just flat in the middle. So let's say you have a 700 credit score conventional loan. Just again, to make the example as straightforward, as average of a buyer as we can possibly get. If we do that, you would have your mortgage insurance at about $170 a month. So your total payment on that house would be about $2,700. It would be $2,699. So literally $2,700.
$2,700 a month to
Right.
purchase this property, which is, as I scroll through the pictures, really nicely updated.
Right. Yeah, no, it actually is.
Yeah, it's pretty nicely updated. A lot of new stuff in there, granite countertops, new bathrooms, lower level that's
Right.
finished. Pretty nice. Open house this
Right.
weekend if anyone's
And then
interested.
And then just to give people an idea too, because I just thought about this, if rates even dip half a point, just say
Hmm.
half a point, right? So we go down to 5.49, right? Instead of 5.99, your
Yep.
payment would go down to 2610. So you drop about $90 a month on half a point. Or yeah, $90 a month on half a point. And if in that time you're paying what's it called, you're paying the loan balance down or your home value goes up, and you can get rid of your private mortgage insurance, like, and we can get rid of that $170, like now we're
Yep.
talking about like $2,400 a month. So I don't want to say it can easily get affordable, because I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. But
Sure.
you know, we're talking about potentially in a 3-year time period, like you'd be down to like $2,400 a month on that mortgage, $2,400 a month on that mortgage. And then, like, you know, I'm sure that sounds a lot better for people. So this is what we talk about when we're like, buy this house now, because like Rich said, it's a deal. And it may go higher than that, but it's still a deal in terms of the, you know, the what they're asking it for. Like,
Yeah, the
it seems
finishes
like a
are very
no-brainer.
nice. A lot
Right,
of finished square
right.
footage. Now, what if
Yeah.
they could get the rate down, like 2-1 buy down?
Yeah. Yep. Good question there. So if we do a 2-1 buy down, which is paid for by a seller credit, if I think we went over that in an
Yep.
episode, but just to give you guys an idea, paid for by a seller credit, and it's when your interest rate for the first year goes down 2%, and then for the second year goes down by 1%. The third through 30th year, or the third until you refinance, will be at that par rate that you locked at. So your rate doesn't adjust based off of that par rate. Whatever you lock at, that's what that's based off of. So it's not an arm. I always like to stress that it's not an adjustable rate. Your base rate cannot change. So if we're at 5.99, the first year we would be at 3.99, which would bring your total monthly payment to 2318.
Oh,
Right. So you're saving, so we're at 26.99. So you're saving $350 a month.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Put that
right,
away.
right. And then if we're at 4.99, we are at 2518. So what, $150 a month? Oh no, $170 a month. Jesus, $170,
Yeah.
$180 a month. Right. So we're talking about pretty big savings here that
Hmm.
again the seller's paying for, and you can still refinance in the time in which you have the in the first or second year, because you just get the escrow money back in terms of paying down your principal balance. So like, this is again what we mean by there's a ton of different options out there for buyers. Like, you're talking about, you could be at $2,300 a month in your first year on your payment. Like, I'm sure for a first time home buyer, that sounds significantly better than even 27.
Right.
But I won't lie, like 25 to 27 is kind of where a lot of first time home buyers payments are. So I wasn't shocked that that's where that ended up, just based off the prices of the house, the down payments, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's important to strategize if you are going to do that plan. I like that plan because you're basically getting a short-term lower interest rate. You're already approved for that higher interest rate, just your monthly payment's different. So you say,
Yep.
okay, I think in the next
Yep.
2 years that rates were going to be less than that highest rate that I could potentially go to. And let's say, year one,
Right.
rates aren't any lower. Okay, so at least you're paying lower. All right, year two, rates are, they're a little bit lower. They're not maybe drastically low where it makes sense to refinance. But as you get to end of year two, you might say, wow, actually rates are, 5.5, or maybe they're 5. Maybe somewhere in year three,
Right.
they're down, but you've had that time to kind of save that extra money, towards your mortgage, and maybe do something else, or just kind of
Yep.
stockpile it, preparing for a refinance or some other adjustments. Maybe you just live there for 2.5 years and you sell and move on to the next one. And in that meantime, again, you've saved some money versus what you would have paid. But
Right.
it's all about what your plan is, what your life plan is,
Right.
what your goals are, and that's what we want to help them kind of strategize. We've talked about this a lot, like strategy. Tell us what your goals are. If we don't ask, but just still tell us. If we forget to ask or we don't ever talk about it. I always like to ask, what are your goals, and I'm sure you
Yeah.
do too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the first questions I am asking is, what's your plan with this house? Like whatever house you buy, like, what are you planning on doing? You're planning on being there for 5 years, 7 years, 3 years, like, and I'll always emphasize, obviously life doesn't go to plan 99% of the time, but at least if we can get a baseline of what we're thinking, I can help you the most. So then maybe the temporary buy down is the play for you, but maybe it's not. Maybe you're buying your first house, but maybe you find a house that has maybe an extra bedroom than you were expecting. Maybe it's a little bit bigger in your price range. You buy it and you're like, oh, I think I'm going to be here for longer. Maybe a permanent buy down is better for you because the break
Yep.
even, like we can go through break even numbers at that point. But I can't even begin to have that conversation if you're not going to be upfront and just tell me again, life doesn't always go to plan, but what we're thinking at least, like then
maybe
we
there's
can
a maybe
go the
there's a
best route.
planned promotion. Maybe there's like a job that's going to happen in a year that you're going to be making more money,
Yep.
or you're
Yep.
just finishing school, so you're going to be able to get more money. Maybe just delaying that payment is helpful, even if you're still approved at the payment, the payment now, but delay it a little bit. Like, yeah, we plan to at least be here 3 to 5 years. Okay, well, we can delay that payment. Oh, and I'm going to make more money. Fantastic. Well, that might be helpful if we just delay it. Again, it's just delaying the inevitable,
Right.
but hopefully the seller can pay for it. If not, like you said, you can do a permanent buy down and get the rate a little bit lower. I think
Right.
so.
Right.
That
Exactly.
kind of covers that sort of first time buyer price point. I think and there was 14 homes listed
Yeah.
in that range. So I think maybe the 4 to
Yep.
600
Yep.
might be sort of that step up spot. What do you think, Matt?
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. This range I typically see as either people with families that maybe just had like their first kid, or they're starting to plan, they have one, they're starting to plan for maybe two or three. They're now kind of getting bumped up into here. Not to go too far detail, but you're probably looking at 2,000 square feet and above. Like you're looking more so at those potentially type of properties. I know in Salem that's kind of what it is. I'm sure Manchester is probably similar to
Matt, you there?
other. If you That's typically it. Like if you have a significant other, you're buying with that person. Typically, actually, I'm seeing like 400 to 500,000 is that number because they have two incomes. If they have little debt, like they've set themselves up in that way. This has been that price point for it. So this is kind of like that awkward middle ground for people. And I think this is like a very popular price point, especially Salem, Dairy, Londonderry, because of that. Like you have first time buyers and people trying to step up. So it's like that congested period, or that congested price point.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got 22 properties for sale in this price point. The asking price is sorted lowest to highest. So we've got our 400, which was actually in our last one too. And then that goes all the way up to 599 995. If we go over to the far right column again, right next to the picture here, we've got days on market. As you see, as we get higher in price, a few of them are a little bit higher on for days on market.
Yep.
Some, again, without diving too deep in, some may have come back on the market for whatever reason. Some may have had price drops, may have started even higher than what they are here. But again, without going deeper into each one of these listings, I don't know that, but at least you get a sense as to some properties that are just out here that may be ripe for, taking a look at and giving them the right asking price. I mean, the right offer.
Right.
This one I've watched. This one, 519 North Adams, great part of Manchester, like great part of Manchester, 110 days. This would be perfect first time home buyer house if it were listed at 399.
Right.
And it would be scooped up in a heartbeat. Needs a little updates, but it's in a beautiful area in Manchester. I just don't know.
Right.
I don't know what's going on here, but again, I've watched that one, so I kind of,
If it's been under, I wonder if it's been under contract maybe,
no, I
and
watched
things
that
have
one.
fallen through. Like I wonder if that
I watched
is crazy. For like 3.2 for 430 in a good area. Like, not that I'm an expert in the Manchester market, but that seems reasonable. That doesn't seem egregiously priced.
No, it's not. It's not, and it hasn't been under agreement yet. So here, it was listed on 1013 and has never gone under agreement. People just, I don't know.
And then to give, I was gonna say, to give people an idea too, like to meet in the middle there for a $500,000 house. This is where it's tough to price, because if you're a first-time buyer versus somebody maybe who's selling another house, putting a bigger down payment down, it's drastically different in the mortgage payment. But like first-time home buyers in like a $500,000 range right now, you're probably looking closer to $4,000 a month. Where somebody who's upping into that, maybe they have their house to sell, they're putting like 100 grand down because they made a lot on their property, or they've saved money, whatever that may be, you're looking more towards the $3,000 a month. So this is where it gets, like the payments for buyers fluctuate drastically, because this is flat out how much money do you have to put down, that's going to be your payment. Where normally 300 to 400, it's like you can kind of get a gauge on what's going to happen there, because it's a first time home buyer. They're probably putting 3 or 5% down.
Yeah, and in this range, the likely with they're a step up buyer in this range, so they're definitely selling a house. They're probably coming with at least $50,000 from the sale of their house. So 10% plus whatever else. So I mean, even if you ran the numbers at 10% down payment, I think most people are going to be able to do that. I know when I sold my first house and bought my second, that's exactly what we had in equity, because we put very little down in the beginning. It appreciated, like normal, nothing crazy, and we ended up having $50,000. So I think that's probably a good 10% down.
Yes, let me see that. So just to give a quick example. So again, this isn't a first time home buyer. So we're going to presume that. So we're going to presume the rate's like 6.5, because that is a difference between the first time home buyers and the not. And then mortgage insurance is probably only going to be like, God, probably $60 a month on it, to be honest with you. 60 to $65 a month. It's not going to be anything crazy because of that 10% down payment. And then let me see, what are taxes on that one?
This one's 7,900.
79.
Just for nice easy round numbers.
All right, so I know. So we got an estimated payment of like $3,670. $3,670. And then again, to give you an idea, if you go to 5.5 on the interest rate, we're at $3,390, right? So very quickly that payment can drop to where it's sustainable. And I'm not saying $3,600 isn't sustainable for people, but just thinking, the average person that's moving up, like $3,600 a month is probably a lot of money. But again, you're probably not moving up. Yeah, so you're probably not moving up into a house like that with that kind of payment if you still have a lot of revolving debt or anything like that. So that's another thing to take into note. And I can speak to people that have $3,500 to $4,000 a month mortgages, if not more. I mean, right now we're talking $5,000 a month. We're quoting people $5,500 a month. those people typically don't have a ton of debt. So it sounds crazy, but if you were to add up all, like, for a first time buyer, add up your mortgage plus your debt payments, and you'd be like, oh, like, I'm pretty much already paying like a $3,300 a month mortgage. It's
Right.
just I'm paying it in student loans and all the credit cards and like that, just typical stuff that students have. Once they come out, they don't realize, oh wow, like if I had none of this, like I could do that and live the same life. It just seems so crazy to think about that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a pretty nice house too. Good area, newer construction,
right,
2019. You know, it's turnkey. It's turnkey. So the nice thing about that is that it's
right,
turnkey. You don't have to worry about repairs, maintenance, and things like that, really, you
yep,
know, because it's
yep,
2019 built. So, you know, you do get in at
right,
that 3,600, 3,500, 3,300 price point, but you know, realistically, the next 5-10 years, that's all you're going to have to worry about, unless you want to, you know, do your own updates to, you know, to your own liking. But you know, as far as things breaking, you're probably, again, can't say for definitively one way or another, but you're probably pretty secure on that one,
yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah, and that's, and that holds value, right? Yeah, you pay a little bit more every single month, but a lot of people will value the security of, the systems are newer, the HVAC's newer, the roof's newer. Like that's not to go unnoticed for people, where people value obviously paying that because you would rather essentially finance, quote unquote, the new roof, the new furnace, the new water, like versus having a $20,000 expense here and 10 here that you have to pay out of pocket. Like it's
Yep.
completely different.
So then we'll jump to if you've noticed a common theme, each time we jump the price points, there's more listings available on the market in that price point. We went from
I
14
was just
for
gonna
the first time buyers, then we went to the 22, I believe it was, for the step up. Now we're at 32
Yep.
for like that higher price point. Every time there's just a little bit more on market, a little bit more on market. That goes to show you first time buyers are out there. They're buying, they're buying, they're buying. The step ups, there's some a little bit more, but again, they're stepping up into a 6% interest rate, so they may be a little bit less wanting to do that unless there's a need.
Yep.
So here we are,
Yep.
we're in 625s, our lowest between the 6 and 900, and then we've got 900 as the top. We've got days on market here anywhere from 2 days to 299 days. This is a 4,000 square foot, 4-bedroom. I love this area of Manchester, by the way. Ledgewood Road in the north end. I love this area of Manchester, but mid-century modern, 1955 build. Let's go for a payment on this bad boy. Very likely these people have 20%, 25% for a down payment.
Yeah. All right, 779, 20% down.
The taxes on that last one, by the way, were for the year were
Yeah,
7,900.
we're probably looking at like
This is
6
only
of that.
8,700.
Oh, what was it? Sorry.
These taxes are only 8,700, whereas the last one they were at 7,800. So really, you're getting a much higher priced home, different area, for not too many more taxes.
Right. And that's pretty crazy because that one's Nashua, right? This one? Oh no, Manchester still. Sorry, that's still Manchester. Okay.
I stuck with Manchester just so we have similar tax rates. You frozen, Matt? I think Matt's frozen over there. But anyways, this one at 8,700 a year, 779,000. There he is. With probably 20 to 25% down. I imagine Matt's working on that.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, I don't know what just happened. Sorry about that. But I have it here. So 779 with 20% down. Again, assuming a 6.5 rate with the 8680 in taxes. Homeowners insurance, I'm gonna go up to like $140 a month, probably somewhere in there. Or sorry, $120 a month. So we're looking at a payment of $4,800 a month for something like that.
$4,800 a month.
Yes,
That's a big
48.
number. It's a big number.
It's probably wild. That is a big number.
Crazy to think where we've come in the last 12 months.
Right. And I mean, just think about it. Like, I mean, not that my parents have this great house, but they, this like, magnificent mansion, but like, their house is worth like $550,000 right now. And I think their total mortgage payment's like $2,200 a month. It's like because of when they bought. And so it's like when you think about that, like the person buying their house is probably at like 3,000 to 3,500,
Right.
and then they're at like 22, which is crazy.
Yeah. I'm working with a seller right now that's like, it's hard. They can't believe that this young couple is going to be able to afford their house based upon the new number and the new interest rates compared to what they have it at. And it's true.
Right.
It's true. It's a different world. Just for fun, let's hit the 900 plus. We've got 4.
Yeah.
We've got a couple minutes
We
left.
got $1 million plus.
Yeah, we've got a 2.15 million, been on 48 days. We got a 1 point. So this is where we'll see some Salems, definitely. And Nashua.
Mhm.
Yep. So your 900 plus right now is in Salem and Nashua, which makes sense. Those are markets that have those. Those are market that sells those. And that's, you're looking at
Right.
probably 7,500 a month.
Oh, at least, especially when you're talking about, $1.5 million plus, like, yeah, you're putting a massive sum of money down because A, you have to, and B, you have it, because you wouldn't be buying that house if you didn't have, a $300,000-$500,000 down on the property. But you're still probably looking, like you said, $8,000, $9,000 a month on that thing. So to think about it, to qualify for that loan with no debt on a $9,000 a month mortgage, like, you gotta make 20 grand a month. So these people are making, $250,000 a year, probably realistically $300,000 to $400,000 a year that are going to be buying those types of properties.
Crazy to think about. Well, cool, man. I think this was good. Did you have anything you wanted to mention as we wrap up?
No, I think it's just important to note it. Like, just see that, 250 to 400, 12 or 14 listings. Go a little bit higher in that middle price range. You go up a little bit with 22 listings. And then in that last one, what was it, 32 or 33 listings in the 600 to 900? Yep. So I think it just very clearly shows that, first-time home buyers are like that 250 to 400 range is still very, very active. But the 600 plus are really the ones that are getting affected by these interest rates, because obviously the loan amounts are higher. So it's really affecting those payments, where 250 to 400, like, not that it's not bothering people, but it's not as big of an impact when you borrow 250 versus 650.
Well, and that's where you get the bottleneck and the log jam and the whole thing, because, then people are really considering that are in that middle price point. Do we want to step up and have such a higher payment, or do we want to stay put and add a bunk bed for the little baby junior that's coming along now, until rates go down or something, until this situation really dictates they need to do it. And then that bottlenecks the first-time buyer from stepping up, and then it just becomes it all travels down.
Yeah. No, it definitely does. And, once we see things stabilize, like I said, 5s and 4s, it'll probably be a lot better. But I mean, I think even through this year, it's going to be tricky for those. Yeah, it's going to be tricky for those, $400,000 or $500,000 plus, like, sellers and buyers. The sellers have a big decision to make, and the buyers really have to think about, okay, am I willing to take on, possibly $4,000 a month on a mortgage. Is that something I'm willing to do?
Right.
The answer for a lot of people is probably no, unless you're in a very good financial spot, which there's obviously people out there that are. Like, it's perfectly, I don't want to say it's normal for us to see it because we talk to so many people, so it feels normal, but I understand that it's not normal in the grand scheme of the overall economy. So it's going to be interesting, man. This year is going to be like, I think a lot of eyes are going to be on this year to see what's going to happen, like how quickly the rates drop, how quickly maybe they don't drop. What are they going to do with them? Like, nobody really knows because no one expected us to be where we are right now. So there's going to be a lot of notes taken on 2023. I can tell you that.
Oh, exactly. Well, where can people get in contact with you besides on www.findnhhomesforsale.com? Where can they email you, call you, whatever? What are your contacts?
Yeah, Yep. So they can reach me at email mmacdonald, MAC for McDonald, not like the fast food restaurant, at pmlhomeloans.com. And then my cell phone is 603-475-5471. I'm always available, ready to help you guys, with your home buying goals, get you on the right plan. Like we were talking about, strategizing, making sure you're ready to buy.
All right. And you can get me at rich@racinerealtyteam.com or go on YouTube at Racine Realty Team and check us out there. Cool, Matt. Thank you.
Yes, of course, Rich. And that's why money matters.
Money matters.